Chap tales. Don't you wanna hear some chap tales? Chap tales. Please tell me all of your chap tales. Okay, nice one. What is happening, people? Okay, so thought of a story that cost me money. All right, yeah. So when I was 17, and all my pals were 17. Obviously, you want to pass your driving test and you want to get a motor and all that. And that is exactly what I did. I passed my driving test and I went to Ford and I bought a brand new Ford KA or car, whatever you want to call it. It was a lovely little car for a 17-year-old. It was all colour-coded silver. It had alloy wheels. It had leather seats, leather steering wheel. It had a boot pop. It had a CD player. It had everything that a car would have in. I can't even remember when it was, in the late 90s. I must have got it. Yeah. Well, anyway, as you do when you get a motor, just everyone wants to be driven everywhere, don't they? Like, and I can remember this time, like there was definitely 5 of us in the car, and one of those people was my pal Josh Wilson. There was probably other band members in the band as well, like Amon, maybe Mate Benson. Actually, definitely Mate Benson. He was always with me back in the day. Yeah, so we were flying about town and all that, and then I think we was actually going to pick Jason O'Keefe up because we was going up that way, and so we're going up Fleet Road, and then just before you hit Southend Green, and like where Pond Street is and that, the front of the Royal Free, top of Fleet Road on the left, there is or was a supermarket. So we pulled over, and obviously we've got the music blaring, all that, and everyone's jumping out, going in the shop and all that, and jumping back in. Anyway, everyone's been to the shop, so everyone's like come back outside, all jumped in the motor. Josh is in the front next to me. Obviously he's had to get out of the car because it was a 3-door motor, and he had to move his seat so they could get back in the back. But he's put the seat back, he's got in the car, and I thought he'd shut the door, and then we were sort of blocking a car in that needed to reverse back a little bit to pull out of the space they was in. So I assumed that Josh was like ready to go, whatever, and I put the car into reverse, started to go back to let this car out in front of me. Josh hasn't realised, and then he's sort of realised that he wants to go to the shop. So he's opened the door, and I've gone back, and the door has just hit. I heard a crunching sound as it hit a bollard or whatever, and I was like, quickly put my foot on the brake. I was like, the car in front of us shut off, and we moved forward a bit and that. And I was like, oh my God, because where I was sitting, I couldn't see at all. Like, so I said, Josh, what's happened, mate? Have you opened the door onto that bollard or whatever? And he was like, no. He was like, it's fine, Chapman, it's fine. I said, proper check it, mate. And he's like, all right. He got out of the car, he's like inspecting. He got back in the motor and shut the door. He's like, yeah, it's fine, mate, totally fine. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, thank God for that. You know what I mean? Brand new motor, I just bought it. Don't know what it was, 12, 13 grand. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, thank God for that. So Josh actually lived up that way, so he must have gone home and I must have picked Jason up. We got back to Ingester, and then like I pull over and that, and then everyone's getting out, and then I think to myself, I better go and inspect this for myself. So I jumped out of the car, like, and I walked round to where the passenger door is, and I could not believe what I could see. The front bit of the door, like it had bent right round and like made a dent through the middle of the door, like where it, I don't know where it was just like too much pressure and it was just like popped into a dent or whatever, where the bit that like shuts had bent right round, and it was outrageous. It was just like, oh my God. So anyway, that evening, like, I told my mum about it and shown her the car, and she's like, oh God. So we put the car in the garage and I was upstairs and that. And then we're sitting there chatting, contemplating claiming on the insurance. Now, a 17-year-old with a brand new motor, I think I was paying like nearly $2,000 a year already for the insurance. And well, actually I had a year's free insurance the first year because it came with free insurance. And then in that year I was thinking, oh God, like if I claim my premium's going to go through the roof. And it did. I didn't claim. The next year it was $2,000. I was like, and I had no claims, nothing, $2,000. So if I'd have claimed for that could have gone up to $3,000 or whatever. It's just ridiculousness. Yeah, but it was mad because that was like my brand new Ford KA. Do you know what I mean? Like my mum paid for the deposit for the car, and then I took the monthly payments on, which at that time I was like a motorbike courier for a company called Powerprint, and do you know what I mean? I weren't earning amazing money, you know what I mean, back in the 90s as well, like. So yeah, I had a brand new car with a bent door, yeah, and it was literally bent for like over a year. And in the end I decided to give the car back because the finance was only for 3 years, but after like it was nearly 2 years, and it was just like, you know what I mean, paying a $2,000 insurance and then a couple of £100 a month for a car. It was just like too much, you know what I mean? I was like, I've got to give this back. But I can remember that we told them about the door and that, like, and they told me to take the car somewhere in North Road in Holloway, some Ford SEB, I can't remember what it was. And I remember that they fixed the door, yeah, and because it was getting picked up to be taken back or whatever. I can't even remember why they agreed to pay for it. I don't know, some madness. But anyway, I can just remember waiting in Ingester downstairs, like I'm waiting for this truck to come that was going to take the car away, and I was looking at it, and like SEB Ford had done the door and they proper give it a good clean. It was looking pristine, and it was just sitting there under the garage in Ingester Road, and I was looking at it all wicked and all, do you know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, should I just tell them that I want to keep it actually and just pay the finance for the next year or whatever? And then in the end, like, my mum was like, you know what I mean, you've got all these holidays that you want to go on, and you know what I mean, and she said, why don't we just like get you a second-hand motor just to have for a while? And then I was like, in the end I was like, yeah. But I remember that the truck came, like, and they put the car up on the back of this truck, like, and I'm just looking at my car, like, and I was like, and with the door being fixed, completely fixed, after basically being bent the whole time I had the car, and I was just looking at it, and as they drove off I was quite sad. But yeah, Josh was like, when I see him the next rehearsal, whatever it was that I was, do you know what I mean, he was like, oh, I'm sorry mate, or whatever, and I was like, it weren't, you know what I mean, I can't blame him because everyone was just crazy nutters jumping in and out of the car. I should have said, I'm going to reverse back to let this guy out, you know what I mean, and then they would have known, and whatever. That was a long time ago, but it was I can say now it was quite funny, like, because seeing like Josh got out to inspect the car, like, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, is it okay? And his eyebrows are like raising up quite high, and he's like, yeah, it's fine, mate, it's fine. And I was like, all right, nice one, bruv. But yeah, sweet. So that was a little chat tale about my first ever car. The Ford car, my first car. All right, nice one. Please like, subscribe, smash bells, comment, and all of that beautiful stuff. And I will speak to you soon. Love ya. Mwah.
Chap tales, don't you wanna hear some chap tales?